Happy day after 4th of July, everyone. This is Jason with Superhero Deep Dive. Actually, it's Tuesday. It's 2 days after 4th of July. I'm sorry. I got my day wrong. But I got a fun episode for you in the spirit of patriotic stuff and cookouts and independence and 1776 and all that. I have a great hero today. It's not Captain America. It is the original, at least for my records, the original, The Shield from Archie Comics. Let's check him out. Now, before I get into it, I do have to give my disclaimer. As always, the information is pulled from different sources across the internet and may or may not be completely complete, but they do give a really good insight on the current superhero. Now, with that said, I have gotten messages before saying I missed certain storylines or anything, things like that. If I do, please feel free to send me messages. I don't mind those at all. But please also keep in mind that with this being a 20 to 30 minute show normally, fitting in a bunch of random storylines doesn't necessarily help flush out who the character is. So I try to go with that, and if they've gone through recent changes, I usually try not to go into those as much either. I try to stick with the essence of the character so we can get kind of like the meat in it. Hopefully it gains your interest to where you look up stuff on the character, you get more information, or you even just go to your local comic shop and find some of their books. I tell you right now, the local comic shops would love to have another customer in there, especially if they're finding obscure heroes. I don't know about you, if you're a new comic fan or if you've been a comic fan for ages, but finding out about some of the obscure ones are the most fun. So yeah, as always, please feel free to comment, subscribe, whatever you need to do. If you have any questions, comments, critiques, requests for heroes to be covered, ideas, if there's anything I missed that you feel is necessary, you can send it to me privately or you can make it public. It's okay. I am very open to debate on these things or discussion. They don't even have to be debate. But you can always catch me on Twitter at superdeepdive. I'm also aired every Tuesday and Thursday throughout the day on Outworld Fleet Radio, and their website is www.un-conventional.com/radio. And you can catch me wherever you listen to your favorite podcast because I am part of the Talking Nerdy to Me network, and I love you guys. So yeah, and if I didn't say it already, you can catch me on YouTube at Super Deep Dive or Superhero Deep Dive. So yeah, this one is The Shield. Now, I had a problem going into this because The Shield was done by Archie Comics, which is awesome. They had a small run into superherodom. It's not just Archie and Jughead all the time. But they didn't delve into like really big storylines, or they aren't known for having like big bad guys. And they'll do a run and it'll drop off, and then they'll reinvent the character over and over again. So I couldn't just find one version of the Shield that was popular because they all kind of fed into each other almost. Not so much fed in, but they all had elements that kind of intertwined. So I've got, let's see here, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different shields. So we're actually going to be covering quite a few characters today within the umbrella of the Shield. So I'm going to get a couple things done first. Like I'm going out of order this time. I'm going to give you their power sets, and just I only found one real fun fact about it, but it's okay because it was still pretty cool. The fun fact for the Shield as a character is the Shield has the distinction of being one of the first, and they advertise it as the first patriotic superhero, as one of the first superheroes with a costume based on the United States flag. The Shield actually appeared 14 months before Captain America. So take that for what it is. That's awesome. One of the greatest superheroes of all time, and Captain America was over a year late to the party thanks to the Shield. So, and I haven't done a deep dive on Captain America, but for all we know, maybe Captain America is based on the Shield. Maybe the reason Captain America has a shield is because as a nod to the original Shield. Maybe, I don't know, but I think it's pretty awesome to speculate that. So I'm going to go on record as saying, with knowledge unknown, without doing any research into that aspect, I think it's pretty cool, and I would absolutely love it if that were the case. So there. Okay. And their general power sets, they all have generally, from what I've seen, similar powers, which include superhuman strength, which kind of gives way to great leaping, invulnerability, and they wear an indestructible costume. I know there was some dispute over one of the Shield characters because of the great leaping, and it got in dispute about being too closely resembling Superman in that. So that's just a little tidbit. But let me get into this. Shield number 1, Joe Higgins. So the origin of the Shield was in Shield Wizard Comics number 1 in 1940. Joe Higgins is really a chemist and the son of Lieutenant Tom Higgins, who was slain by a German saboteur. Sound pretty familiar so far, right? The guy that made the super soldier serum was slain by a German saboteur. So Hans Fritz that was the German saboteur, and Tom was actually blamed while working on a chemical formula for super strength, which the Nazis were after. After his death, Joe continued to work on it while continuing his studies of chemistry. Joe finally figured out the solution, which meant applying the chemicals to certain parts of his anatomy. Okay, the sacrum, the heart, innervation, which I don't know what that is, eyes, lungs, and derma. So SHIELD, shield. And using x-rays to give him super strength, being able to make great leaps, and invulnerability. The initials also gave him his name, just like I said. His white costume becomes a familiar colors under the process. He became an FBI agent whose secret identity was only known to FBI Chief J. Edgar Hoover after clearing his father's name and fought foreign agents and other threats to the U.S. That origin is really, really close to Captain America's, and that's 14 months earlier. I'm just saying, that it's really close. Chemicals in the body, German saboteur comes and destroys it. Guy takes the reign. I don't know, it's just weird. He had a partnership with fellow G-men, which is what they called like government men, Juju Watson and girlfriend Betty. He would later be joined by a kid partner named Dusty in 1941. Dusty's father had been killed by foreign agents, and he is adopted by Joe, who is a shield, and given a costume. Both heroes wore their patriotic costumes beneath their street clothes and would change for action whenever the need would arise. Dusty would also partner with the Wizard's kid partner, who was another hero at the time, Roy, as the boy buddies. Because that's what you did in 1940. You were boy buddies. Oh, goodness. In Pep Comics number 20, which is probably around 1942, 1943 at that time. He is known as the one and only Shield at the start of the story and the original Shield at the end of the story because of the success of Captain America, another 1940s era patriotic superhero. So, yeah, they kind of had to put him in and let them know that he was the original. So, which I don't blame them. I don't blame them. You know, that's your property. Do it. In his first appearance, let's see here, Captain America had a shield similar to the main part of the Shield's costume, but it was changed to a round shield for the second issue over accusations of plagiarism. See, that's why I think it was a nod. So the Shield and Dusty were featured in the first crossover storyline in American comic books. The storyline had them teaming up with the Wizard, who was a headlining character from a comics group called Top Notch Comics. To stop the invasion plot orchestrated by a country called Moscovia, which is a totally made-up country, and it was made up of elements from Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. So they made this up, which is smart because you don't want to put blatant accusation there. You can do stuff that was similar, but yeah, that's the first hero. That's the one with the most information. So that set the groundwork. I mean, that was pretty cool, right? It's pretty cool. Okay, the second one was called Lancelot Strong. In June 1959, the new Shield was published by Archie Comics and had no connection to the previous version. Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, awesome legends in the comic world, had been hired by Archie to create characters for a new Archie Adventure series line of superheroes. They created a new Shield, whose identity was Lancelot Strong, and appeared in the new title, The Double Life of Private Strong. Most collectors refer to the Shield as Lancelot Strong to differentiate him from the previous one. Lancelot's scientist father developed a method to create a superhero or superhuman by expanding the mind, which he used on his infant son. After his father was killed by foreign agents, Lancelot was adopted by a farm couple and raised as their son. Are you kidding me? Once he hit his teens, he discovered the truth of his background and his powers: strength, flight, near invulnerability, vision powers, the ability to generate lightning, and a few more. His father had created a patriotic costume for him, and he started off as the new superhero, the Shield. He soon joined the army, acting like a Gomer Pyle-style country bumpkin while leading a double life as the Shield. Hence the title of the comic, The Double Life of Private Strong. So he acted like a total idiot beforehand. Okay, this is funny. This is the one. DC cried foul, claiming this new Shield was too similar to Superman. So after 2 issues, the comic ended. After 2 issues. So let's take a look at this. Okay, scientist father. That's not Jor-El at all. Create a superhuman. Okay, so let's take that. He used it on his infant son. So that's fine. That's checks out so far. Father was killed by foreign agents. Okay, that's fine. That kind of plays into the original, right? Killed by foreign agents. Lancelot was adopted by a farm couple and raised as their son. That sounds like the Kents. Sorry. Once he hit his teens, he discovered the truth. Uh-oh. Sounds like a Kansas farm boy, right? Let's see. Strength, flight, near invulnerability, vision powers, the ability to generate lightning. Okay, so there's a lot there, right? Okay, he joined the army instead of the newspaper. We had a Gomer-style country bumpkin instead of a mild-mannered Clark Kent. but double life instead of Superman will have the shield. Yeah, it checks out. It's a pretty carbon copy right there. I mean, there's not much difference. There's a couple lines blurred, but yeah, that was. And back then there weren't as many superhero comics, so I mean, it was pretty ripe. Yeah. So that was the second shield. That's number two. Number three, Bill Higgins. Um, which number one was Joe Higgins, so number three is Bill Higgins. When Archie revamped their superheroes under their Radio Comics or Mighty Comics line, a new shield also appeared since they probably felt they couldn't use the new Lancelot Strong one. That makes sense. Um, this one was revealed to be the son of the original shield. This new shield is Bill Higgins, son of the original shield, who would appear in the new Flyman number 31. The Flyman. Flyman. Okay. You can only scrape the bottom of the barrel so many times, right? Alright. He becomes one of the main founders of the Mighty Crusaders, which is a cool name. It would be revealed that his father was turned to stone by the villain, the Eraser, and Bill was carrying on his father's work. Bill's powers, which seemed to be enhanced strength and limited invulnerability, were derived from his costume. He would later appear through the end of the Radio Mighty Comics run. So that was number three, right? Yeah, we're on number three. So number four, Michael Barnes. When the Legend of S.H.I.E.L.D. was revamped yet again, Lieutenant Michael Barnes became the new S.H.I.E.L.D. Although his predecessor was implied to be single, Barnes was a married father with a young daughter. Barnes would continue as the lead character until the series' 1992 cancellation, and also appeared as the S.H.I.E.L.D. in a 6-issue miniseries called The Crucible, which was intended to reinvent the Impact Comics line. I remember Impact Comics in the 90s. They totally redid all these Archie comic heroes, and it was awesome. I wish it would have gone farther, but it didn't. But instead of so he was intended to reinvent the Impact Comics line, but instead served only as a finale for various reasons, mainly low sales. It makes sense. Michael Barnes would have been the star of the title The American Shield if Impact Comics had continued publishing. Yeah, that checks out. I'm sorry, that one actually brings a little tear to my eye out of nostalgia. I remember going to little mom and pop shops and seeing that little rack of comic books, and those were on it. The Impact Comics, and they all had this kind of. They weren't as dark and gritty looking as the Marvel and DC comics at the time. They had the colors were more vibrant. The lines, were sharper black around it. It definitely had a lighter feel to it. But the heroes, their designs are really cool. So I'm going to have to do some more of the Archie comic ones, or the Impact Comics, which is all under the Archie umbrella. But that's number four. Okay, number five. DC Comics had a series called Red Circle Comics. And they reinvented Joseph Higgins. So the original one. But we're counting them as a new one because it's new universe. So, the Red Circle comic characters, aptly named the Red Circle, were again licensed by DC Comics and rebooted. During the Discord Crisis, a version of the S.H.I.E.L.D. character was seen helping Green Arrow and Black Canary performing crowd control. First appearing as a secondary character in The Web, the former hero, the new S.H.I.E.L.D., is Lieutenant Joseph Higgins, stationed in Afghanistan, where he tries to contact the Web to find his missing father. On the same day, however, his crew fall victim to Taliban terrorists, and Higgins is grievously wounded. To save his life, he agrees to be subjected to a secret government experiment, after which an advanced nanotech battlesuit is merged to his burned epidermis. That means his skin. He got a new skin. Alright. The suit appears on his body at will and grants him the same array of powers as the earlier incarnation, including superhero strength, limited flight, and advanced sensory abilities. Due to his severe injuries, the only major drawback is that if he ever tries to remove the war suit permanently, his body functions would shut down. That's because it's his skin. It's his skin now. He can't take it off. But anyways, still fighting as the new patriotic hero, he is again contacted by the web, accepting his request for help. The Shield also appears in the 2010 DC Comics miniseries, The Mighty Crusaders. Okay, so that's number 5. And number 6, this one's the last one. Victoria Adams. In 2015, Archie Comics rebranded the Red Circle Comics line under the new Dark Circle Comics banner. The new Shield debuted in her own series titled The Shield in October of 2015. Victoria Adams is the first female to take up the mantle of the Shield. The series ran 4 issues. She has continued in her role as the Shield in The Mighty Crusaders, written by Ian Flynn. That's all the information it really gave me. It's a cool design, though. All your patriotic heroes look pretty similar. It's just basically the American flag threw up on them. Hers is kind of like, if you look at like, the best way to describe it is someone that rides a horse, an equestrian, right? They have the tall boots, like the riding boots. So she's got that. She's got, instead of like them being gray or khaki, like the riding pants, they're like blue. And then instead of like a button-up top or whatever, it's like this red top with like aviator wings on it or something. It's and the shield in the middle. It's really cool looking. But she's a redhead. She's got her hair pulled back in a ponytail. If you're watching this on YouTube, you will be able to see the pictures scattered throughout the slideshow because that's what it does, right? So, she's got the same powers. It really hasn't been a whole lot of information on that one that I can find. But this is a character like rich in history. Like, do you see where I couldn't just take one version? I had to give all of them. And what I like about this is that they all have their strengths and stuff to it. And it's just really cool. It's just really cool. It's a cool character. Actually, to be 100% honest, if you look up the designs or if you're watching it on YouTube, the costume designs is probably one of the most solid ones that have ever come out. Like, it's a solid costume. No, I'm not talking about the old school ones where it's like his whole torso looks like a giant shield, like an immovable shield. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just the design itself, where you see like the spandex costumes and stuff. They're really cool. They're really cool looking. So yeah. What do you guys think? Have I missed anything on the Shield? Any of them? Have there been like really big bad guy plots, like something that could link all of them together? Let me know. Like I said, you can leave a comment on YouTube videos. You can contact me on Twitter at superdeepdive and use the hashtag superherodeepdive. You can also email me directly if you'd like at b4itall@yahoo.com. So it's b4itall@yahoo.com. Yeah, let me know what you think. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, because I was telling a friend of mine my plans, and he had no idea that Archie Comics had a superhero line at one point. So yeah. And it wasn't just the fact that they had a superhero line. They actually had a pretty decent superhero line. It's just a shame that it didn't get out like it could, because the characters were solid. I don't know about Flyman. He could have just been the Fly, but they had a couple other ones that were pretty awesome. And I'm sure I'll be covering them because they are. When I was thinking about this one, it just brought a love for these characters back to me. But we're gonna hit my favorite part of the show, power expansions. So if I could redo these characters, would I do it as a comic book? Would I do a movie? Would I do a TV show, a mini series? If it were to make it onto screen of any size, big screen, small screen, who would I have cast as the characters? What would be the storyline? Stuff like that. Like how can we push this character, or in this case, these characters farther and let them be. Let them kind of take some space in people's minds that they should be living there rent free. So I was thinking about it, and I had a really cool idea. Okay, so we have multiple characters taking on the same mantle, pretty much. It's the same name. Character powers are pretty much universal. So let's have a mini series. Like, it can be multiple episodes. It doesn't have to be like a whole series. Like that's why I say a mini series. Um, Let it be. Let's see. We have 6 characters, so let's maybe have it be like 8 to 10 episodes. Okay, like um, and each one is, let's say, 1 to 1.5 hours. So it's almost like a mini movie. And they've done that before with stuff. But 1.5 hour episode, 1 to 1.5 hour episode for each version of the shield. Okay, so you have the six different shields. Okay, so that's 6 episodes right there. And if we do 1.5 hours, that's 9 hours of shield. you know? Um, and then we can have it culminate with the final episodes. Um, that can be, 1.5 to maybe even 2 hours for the very finale, for the very final one, where they all have to band together against some time travel thing. And the reason I say that, it can be maybe a big bad guy that they create. It could be an immortal villain, maybe a secret society. Um, someone that's like a group that's pulling the strings behind the scenes. But we have all these versions of the shield throughout time. So we can do this like in a way that um, the time travel thing doesn't have to happen right away. Like you can see like some kind of artifact. I really don't like artifacts with it, not with this at least. But some kind of device, some kind of documentation or something that where they can create this thing, and um, it joins them together at the end. So they all have their own like individual adventures, their own origins. Then like that's 6 episodes. So let's say it's 9 or 10 episodes. So then you have a couple episodes where they're kind of traveling through time to meet up at this certain point. Like maybe they're meeting up at the present day with the girl Victoria Adams. Where she's taken on the mantle, and they're giving her advice, they're giving her tips. But this is after her own individual story. And then they have to take down this secret society, and you can see it like kind of intertangled in all the episodes, like something pulling the strings. It doesn't have to be cheesy. It can be very subtle, and then this is what happens. Uh, so, and they fought in different countries, various wars. So I think it could be really cool. Um, and I was thinking, since this is a Archie Comics property mainly, then you can have background cameos by different Archie characters. like just to get, and it doesn't have to be like big things. You can just give a nod to the company. So like, what if one of the shields answers to someone like when Joe Higgins, the original shield, is a private or something, or he's not a private, he's a chemist, right? So what if one of the people there has the last name Weatherby, which is kind of like if I remember correctly, that's the principal in the Archie comics story. That's the principal's last name, Principal Weatherby. Or they always went to this Pop's Diner. So what if one of the soldiers during another episode is talking about wanting to go home and just opening up a hamburger shop or something, which gives a little nod. What if Veronica's father was actually a part of the secret society, since he's so rich and powerful that like this is kind of how he got his power. um I mean, there could be things like that. What if you had one of the characters talking about his daughter Betty or something? What if Victoria has a date with Archie or something, and then you can actually use the actor from the Riverdale CW show or something. I mean, it could be anything. It could be anything, and it could just be funny because it doesn't even have to have a date with him. What if? Because I believe he played football or something, right? So what if she went to the same high school, or she remembered her days in high school? Like, what if she's in her 20s? So she remembered her days in high school where she talked about Archie playing, and always having the two girls fawn over him. I mean, just a little nod to it to fit in the conversation to where fans would be like, "Oh, that's what they're talking about. That's so cool." I think it'd be awesome. But I think stuff like that, could be a lot of fun, and it could open up a great character, like the essence of that character, to a whole new set of fans. Because right now things are kind of crazy, and it'd also be really cool to see the original Shield and the current one, and see how ideologies may be different, to where one is not necessarily wrong. It's just a different point of view or a different understanding, because a lot has changed since World War II. So, there's a lot that could happen there, and I think that it'd be great. And who would you cast? Who would you cast for this? Like, I was thinking like Channing Tatum, Jensen Ackles. I don't know. For the girl, I really am a little bit of a fan of Kat McNamara. She was in the Shadowhunters series. I think that's what it was called. But she could be the female Shield. She's done action stuff. She's got a really cool look to her, so she could do something like that. And what do you all think? Let me know. Like, the casting part's fun because I love imagining these characters in these roles. So what would you think? How would you treat this character? What would you want to do? I'm going to open the floor to you. Like I said, you can reach me at Twitter at superdeepdive and use the hashtag superherodeepdive. You can listen to me every Tuesday on the Talk Nerdy to Me network, or if you listen to your favorite podcast, and just look up Superhero Deep Dive. You can catch me on YouTube. Every Tuesday I have this podcast uploaded with a slideshow of the character. So we're going to be doing that. And I've also got some fun stuff planned. Like, going forward, I think the last Tuesday of the month, I'm going to be doing superhero rants. Like, bad ideas or obscure ideas that happen in comic books and stuff like that. Like it'd be a lot of fun. So if you have ideas, if you have critiques, if you have requests for things, let me know. Send me a message. I would love to hear from you. But until next time, everyone be good, be safe, be happy, be smart, and if you're not smart, don't get caught. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.